may have heard that first trade bell ringing earlier this hour. Presidio rang the first trade bell. They are an oil and gas company, and they officially began trading on the New York Stock Exchange. Joining me now are Presidio's co-founders and co-CEOs, Chris Hammack and Will Ulrich. Welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So what did it feel like to ring that first trade bell at the New York Stock Exchange?
In a word, it was unbelievable. This was something that started as a friendship between me and Chris about 10 years ago, and for it to have accelerated to the point where we're now standing, opening up our stock on the New York Stock Exchange is really an unbelievable feeling.
It started as a friendship. Tell me that story, Chris.
Oh yeah, Will and I have known each other for probably 14 years or so now, and so we worked together for a short period of time, but we became friends very quickly. And so we always thought about, if there was something to do together, it'd be a lot of fun. We always joke that, we have a Harvard finance guy and an Aggie engineer, like who makes the most sense to run an oil and gas company. So the opportunity presented itself in 2016 for us to come together, and Presidio is what came out of that. So it's been great.
All right, people often see, the final result, the company trading, listing. How much work went into that, and why oil and gas?
It was an unbelievable amount of work, and this started as kind of a value investing proposition to go buy distressed oil and gas fields, but it's grown into something dramatically more than that, where we really want to own basically every oil and gas well in the country over the period of time here as a public company.
All right, and tell me about what your company does. Like, what service are you providing?
Right, I'd say it's a very differentiated oil and gas story. I've been in oil and gas my whole career. We are a company that buys and optimizes wells. We don't drill wells, and in the oil and gas industry, that's unheard of. Normally, the growth and the way that people create profits is through drilling wells, and there's goods and bads to that. We have the simple business model of buying something at a reasonable rate, making it better, and producing cash flow that way. So it's very stable. It's very easy to predict. It's very different than what I would say 98% of our business has done for a very, very, very long time. So I think we were very early movers as a private company to get into this space and to start consolidating these assets as things became more and more kind of attuned to our business model. And I think we are very much on the cutting edge of the public side of this, of being in front of what is going to be a very, very large kind of runway of properties that fit the mold of what we're trying to do as the business kind of comes to us. So I think that's great.
And I understand you use AI and automation. How have those impacted your oil and gas business?
Yeah, so we have a challenge, two challenges out right now to all of our employees, but for 100% of them to be using AI every day, and for us to take AI into a hard asset field. So typically, you can see AI in software and eating the world there. We produce a hard asset. There are physical constraints associated with doing that. And we've developed tools specifically around machine learning and AI that allow us to be more efficient, increase our production from those wells, reduce operating expenses from the wells, predict when wells are going to fail, when we're going to have downtime, tune the guys who are our decision makers, who are out in the field, who are making the good decisions every day to produce as much as they can from these wells, to be able to let them tune their decisions and do an even better job. So we're in the early innings of it, I would say. We were into this a few years ago. And really now we're taking it to the next level.
Chris, what's the current outlook for oil and gas production in our country?
You could get a lot of different answers. I think we've become very good over the last 25 years at being manufacturers of oil and gas. Obviously, the unconventional revolution in our country has changed the landscape of oil and gas in the U.S. To be from an importer to an exporter these days. I think we've gotten very good at harvesting at this point. I think the companies that are good at that and the big guys that do that are very good at it. I do think that we've become maybe too good at it. So we will at some point, relatively soon, I sure can't predict it, it beats kind of peak oil in the country just because of what we're doing. And I think that's where this business model comes in, into the fact that I would put oil and gas companies into two categories. There's the development companies that are out there drilling oil and gas wells, and there's the companies that are really good at harvesting that oil and gas once it comes out of the ground the most efficient way. We are the latter, and there's very few of us. So we like to think of that the whole market is coming to us. As things get drilled up and things become what we call PDP, which is producing wells, that needs to move into a platform that looks very much like Presidio. So I think that as we start to evolve over and we develop the Permian and the basins that are actively being developed at this point, just more and more things are going to come to us. So I think this is, again, a good time. The industry's been, extremely resilient over the last 25 years. I'm figuring we'll find other ways to find more oil and gas through technology and the things we've done. But I definitely think it's a good position for Presidio to be in now as we start to transition into this more producing realm of the oil and gas sector.
All right, we are about to close out the show. Any final thoughts, like any in our last few seconds?
No, we're just really excited to be here. This represents the next stage of growth for our company. We've grown and performed incredibly well as a private business, and now we're ready to take it to the next level as a public company.
Thank you so much, Presidio.